Hey guys, iKailaKai here, and in my tier list video, I talked about a couple of decks in tier 1 and tier 1.5, and many people were curious about those. I put out the Bonnie video 2 days ago, the redpurple Luffy video yesterday, and today is going to be about Vegapunk. I was going to have Vegapunk against Shanks because that's a fairly 50-50 matchup, but I made a mistake with the redpurple Luffy video, so I wanted to address it, and therefore I'll be having RP Luffy in this video as well. So I had this card, I don't know what it's called in English, which searches 5 for a Straw Hat. However, I realized from the comments, thank you, that it only searches characters, and part of the reason I wanted to put it in is so that I could find more giant. So my apologies on that, don't follow that list. Instead, I've put in, if I translated exactly, when you're at sea, you fight with pirates. And this card's quite nice. One of the reasons why I wanted to put in the other search event was because it could search 5, but the benefit of this one is that it can search 7-cost Kid, which can help with the consistency. So I'm testing this out, but of course anything in these videos is never final, and if you are going to use it as a list, make sure to just use it as the base. I will say this is one of Vegapunk's bad matchups, as a lot of Luffy's things are 9-cost, but the plan for Vegapunk is to try to just stop and slow down the game for as long as possible to eventually push back. This ends up being quite a long matchup, and it's not very easy, but it's not impossible, so I wanted to at least go through this even if I end up losing. Vegapunk generally wants to KO the opponent's lower cost things that are 5 and 4 cost, and then eventually take the higher cost things with Kingdom Come and things like Yamato with your life manipulation. The problem is that Luffy, first of all, does not run that many lower cost things, and second of all, gets to the high cost things very quickly. Luffy generally tends to prefer to go first, and Vegapunk generally tends to prefer to go second, so let's do it that way, even if that might not be optimal for the matchup. As Luffy's going first, let's go through his mulligan first. We generally just need to have one ramp card and a 9-cost or higher when we're going first, and we have both of those, so let's keep this. Now in most matchups, it's very good to be able to play something like Shaka on turn 1 into our leader ability, and then on turn 2 play Dirisu and something else onto the board or life. So usually you'd keep this, but because it's redpurple Luffy, I really want to make sure that I have enough Raigo to keep up with their 9 costs, and as such, I think I'm going to hard mulligan for not specifically Raigo, but especially I want to try to find Dirishi. Let's mulligan. I think especially because this is a bit of a difficult matchup, I want to be a bit more greedy with my mulligan. Redpurple Luffy, first of all, he kept his hand. Second of all, it's a bit of a hard matchup, so we need to make sure that we can actually compete with that. Bundle. Enter. Bundle. Leader effect. Put Shaka into life, and then enter. So many people think that you can kind of starve Vegapunk, where like if you just don't hit their life then nothing comes out and it's not a problem, but you need to hit Vegapunk. If you don't hit Vegapunk, they're going to make the life total 9 or 10, and then they can Yamato anything that you play, so you need to keep them low enough that their Yamato is weak. 6,000 leader. Take and trigger. Play Shaka. 3 don. Zorojiro. And then enter. So unfortunately we don't have a 3-cost that we can play, which would have been nice, especially Dirishi. But we do have 2 Kingdom Cugs, so we might be able to play the late game out better. For now, let's take it slow and look for the pieces that we need. I'll play Leader Effect, and then put Edison in life, and then enter. Let's use this first, and then we'll search 3 cards. We need to make the choice if we want to have this for later, if we want to play it out slowly. But this matchup we definitely want to play out slowly, so I'm fine with not having the Nika in this matchup. Go 5,000 leader, and then on attack gain 1 don active. I'll just block. And then draw 1 card, and then get 1 don active. Ideally we'd want to have something like Queen on this turn, but as we don't, you know, just get the cycle. 7,000 Shaka. Take. Enter. Okay, not bad. 5 don. 50. Of course I'm at 3 life, so I can't use the effect. 1 don leader effect, then put Dirisu in life, and then enter. Okay. Now, this really sucks because I know how to fight against Vegapunk. The best thing to do here is to just not hit with Zorojiro. I'll leader effect, get 1 don active. 7,000 leader. Trigger, play Dirisu, and then search 5 for a egghead card. I definitely want to have Kuesa at some point. It'll help me stall out the game. I already have Shaka in my trash, so I think this is the best option. 9 don. Luffy, -1, draw 1 card, and then 10,000 leader. 10,000 leader I will take, and then trigger, on play effect, draw 2, and then trash 2. So this is an issue because I actually really want almost all of these cards. The reason I didn't attack the Zorojiro was because if you put them down to 1, it makes it much easier to use Raigo, and then at least if you leave them at 2, they're forced to have a Furampe. So I really want to keep the Furampe. I want to keep all of these Raigo for the late game, which means that I'm kind of forced to throw away Yamato, and then let's get rid of the Robin. Enter. At the very least, we know that we're going to do this. So, bundle, Furampe, and then draw 1 card here to draw 1 card here. Now we're at 1 life total, so our Daigo is free to use. Hitting just gives them more resources. I'll just use the Luffy effect, and then KO Zorojuro, and then draw one card. Raigo, KO defeat, and then one don't leader effect, and then I'll put Shaka into life, and then enter. This is actually one of the nice things about this event, is that, so usually on these kinds of turns you can play Whitebeard and then leave one dong up, but because we really don't need to at the moment, it's nice that we have this event, so let's pick up the Giant for late game. Whitebeard, 8,000 leader. Trigger, play Shaka, and turn. I really didn't want to have to throw away that Yamato, because at some point we have to build up our board to push back, so right now we just have to kind of survive until we can start to push back. At least we have our Daigo. 6 don't, Daigo, 1 don't, leader effect, and then put Shaka into life, and then enter. We don't have our big stuff for this turn, unfortunately. We generally get to have 2. Sometimes if we're in a good spot, we'll have 3, but this is not too much of a problem because at least we have Onami now. 4 don't, Onami, trash 1 card, and then draw 2. Actually, we prefer for them to counter it, so I won't put any don. 6,000 later. 6,000 is a little tempting, however, I really don't want to make my hand smaller, so I'll just take it for the trigger. Play queen, -1 don, draw 2, and then trash 1. Let's trash 1. Event, search 3. Oh nice, we can search kit. Leader effect, add 1 don, and then enter. So I can double clear these, but I don't really see a necessity to. I really would have wanted to use this turn to, for example, play Yamato, or to play 8 katakuri, but of course I don't have it, so we have to play with what we have. I do think that we're at a point where we can start to hit with at least these to sort of start to push back. If we use our leader effect and then play Nami, then we'll be at 3, so we can actually get the cycle on Nami. And I want to do that before I attack so that I can get rid of queen. I do kind of want to attack now. I wanted to wait until I have multiple big things, but because if we focus on that plan too hard, we'll never end up hitting, because at this rate we won't draw any big things. We need to kind of pivot our plan. One don't, leader effect, Irisu into life, get rid of Furampe, and play Nami. Then Nami's on play, I will trash 1 card and KO queen. Then, as I have 3 cards in my hand, I draw 1 card. 7,000 leader. Let's take 1. 7,000 leader. I'm almost going to use my Giant just so that I can cycle my deck a bit more. The one thing though is that if he had a large monster, he absolutely would have played it on this turn, which indicates that he probably doesn't. Of course I'm playing with knowledge of both hands, so I know he doesn't, but in an actual game if he does this, it's suboptimal to do what he just did. So you can infer that they don't have the high 8 cost or 9 cost characters. As such, I think maybe actually it's safe to play this next turn, so maybe I don't need to. So I'll just counter this with 2,000. First, let's start with a search, I guess. Check 5 for a straw hat. Oh, we got one. And I guess let's just play that this turn then. 9 don't, play defeat, and then -1 don't, and draw 1 card. Then I will leader effect to gain 1 don't. That's 6,000 leader. 6,000 leader I don't really want to take because it'll push out some of my board. However, I do want to be at 1 life for Daigo, and I can just block this next attack. So I will just take it. Then Nirisu on play. That kind of sucks. I'll put Kuesa into my hand. 9,000 leader. And let's block this one. Man, I really need something good to play soon. What we should do instead is to just start to try to get resources, since we'll have 3 extra though. 6,000 leader. 1,000 counter. 6k leader. 1k. 6k leader. You know what, I'm going to use this for the cycle. Although we have a 9 cost, we can't really guarantee that we'll have multiple, and we have so many of these in my hand that I can't always use them one turn after the other. So I'll use this, and then I'll -2 though, and then trash 1 card to draw 2. Oh shoot. We're not in any danger of dying, so 6k leader. 2k. 6 don't, Raigo. 1 don't, leader effect, and then put Kuesa into life, and then enter. Luffy, on play effect, -1 don't, and then draw 1 card. 7,000 leader. Trigger, Kuesa, and I will play a 5 cost or less egghead out of my trash. I will play Shaka. 10,000 leader. Block with Shaka, and then KO. Leader effect, get 1 don't active, and then enter. Okay, well, we got Katakuri. Maybe 4 turns too late, but we still got Katakuri. There's still a lot of cards that I'm missing that make my deck really work. I know that I can Daigo his Luffy, and if he plays like another 9 cost, I'm in trouble, but I really need to get this out when I can to actually be able to start pressuring life. 6,000 leader, 1k, 8 don't, Katakuri, and then put Nirisu into my life. 1 don't, leader effect, put Kuesa into life, and then enter. This stuck and we want to take advantage of that, so let's just play Whitebeard, plus 2,000 to leader. We have seen 3 Luffy, so if we get our 4th one, you know, it sucks for Vegapunk, but we don't really need the Giant right now, so let's play the Nami. Yep, hey, we got our 4th one. Vegapunk is very sad. 8,000 liter. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Although Shaka is extremely powerful here, unfortunately I would want to play this Nami to just immediately get rid of this Onami, but we don't have it in our trash, unfortunately. So I think what I'll play is Luffy, because not only does this cycle a card in the next turn and get rid of Onami, we can also try to attack Luffy when it becomes rested. So I'll play Luffy, and then start to try to bully his hand from there. 10k leader. 10k leader, let's block. End turn. Okay, sorry guys, I relocated. I understand maybe the tripod shadow is going to be in the shot, but I think maybe it's a little bit more clear now. Let's draw. Oh, that's an interesting card. However, we played this and we just kill Onami, which is the same as what Luffy's going to do this turn anyways. So there isn't really a reason for me to play it this turn. Let's use Luffy effect because we're at 2 or less, and then KO Onami, and then let's draw 1 card. I could Daigo this turn, but there isn't a reason to. What I think is better for me to just hit it really hard and then leader effect to stall out the game, rather than playing something like Furampe into Raigo into just like one small attack. So let's do that. 17,000 Luffy. Let's take this leader effect and then put Robin into our life. This is actually one of the strongest cards in this deck. Okay. 10,000 Katakuri. Yeah, I don't want to defend that. In which case, let's go 7,000 leader. 7,000 leader, I will take the Robin and then draw 2 cards. 9 though, play Luffy, and then Luffy on play, -1 though, and then draw 1 card. Now he gains rush, so 10,000 leader. Let's take the Didis. 5 cards. Okay, we're finally starting to get our resources. Robin. And we are close to our loop now, actually. And then leader effect, get 1 dull active, and then enter. I think now we want a Daigo, but the question is what we do with the rest of our dull. Obviously, we're going to use 7 for Daigo and leader effect, so we could use the other 3 to either play Dirise, or we can just hit 3 times here. And I think hitting 3 times hurts more, so let's do that. 6,000 leader, plus 1,000, 6k leader, plus 2k, 6k leader. Let's use it, just to make sure that we have turns later. And then -2, we'll trash Frankie, and then draw 2 cards. Daigo, Yugi, leader ability, and Robin. Enter. So we have an extra dong, so let's use the event, and then search 3. Oh, wow, I've never looped with this deck before. I guess we do have more top end. Oh, I should have been keeping track of the loop. I didn't think that we would loop, but I guess I've increased the searches in this deck by a ton. Kid, and then on play, -1 dong, and then plus 1,000 my leader. Leader effect, and then let's go 5,000 leader, 1,000. Then let's go 7,000 leader. I'll take, and then draw 2 cards. And then 10,000 leader. 10,000 leader, let's take. Hey, Kuesa! And then let's play Shaka off the trigger. 8 dong, Katakuri, and then send Kid to the bottom. Okay, let's go 5,000 into Nami. So the question is, do I want to put in the Robin to try to get the 2, or the Didis to try to search 1? But as Didis doesn't have counter and Robin does, I think that the most I get on average would be about 2,000 counter, so I gain about 1,000 counter, whereas I have a decent chance to search the 1,000, or to search the 2,000 counter with Lilith, so I will use leader effect to put Lilith into my life. End turn. 10,000 leader. 10,000 I cannot defend, so let's take the Didis. And then search 5. Oh, shoot, we didn't even get it. I guess we'll get Shaka. 10 dong, Nika. Then Nika on play effect, -10 dong. Bottom deck my board. Leader effect, +1 dong. And then Nika effect, press 1 dong to get 1 dong active. And then 7,000 leader. 2k, 1k. And then end turn, I get my extra turn. Out of principle. Nika effect, get 1 dong active. There's a world actually where they can defend this and then take back the Nika, and just to be sure of that, I want to leave a dong up for a giant, so let's go 9,000 leader. I'll block. 12,000 leader. I don't have enough. Hey, guys, I don't know if I'm going to put this in the final recording, but this is Vegapunk's deck compared to the trash. Here is Luffy's deck compared to his trash. This is so not okay, by the way. God damn it. Luffy draws so many cards. If I had my Robins earlier and then was able to play some of these in the early game, maybe I had a chance. I survived for a really long time though. Well, let's get into the discussion. Oof, that was a long game. These are the deck lists that I used for this video. I think that actually Vegapunk, even though he had a comparative low roll against a comparative high roll, it was fairly close, and I think the star card actually was this card, the search event. Luffy didn't have the search event, then he couldn't have looped his deck, and he couldn't have found not only all 4 of his Luffys, but also his Nika. I always say this, you don't need the 10 cost Nika to end the game. It just happens to be that when I take these videos, I try to choose matchups that are very close. I don't want to take matchups that are just completely winning for one side, which is why you end up seeing situations where Nika comes into play. But into like 90% of matchups, you don't need Nika. For the Vegapunk list, I'm quite confident in this 50. The issue with this deck is that I feel like it's so perfect that I can't move anything around. I think that 5 cost Nami is not actually extremely necessary to the deck, but it's just good to have in the event that you fight against something like Doflamingo, which is why it's in. 6 cost Robin actually is extremely strong, and I do want to make it 3. The issue is that there's no card that I want to make less than 4. Keep in mind that Raigo is searchable off of Didishi. Didishi can search any trigger cards, including Raigo, so it's very good to increase the consistency of the deck, and also it gives you 2 cards. What Vegapunk generally tries to do is to stall out the game early and reduce the opponent's attacks enough that their leader effect can effectively absorb 1 attack per turn. And if you can absorb the only attack every turn, then you will not die ever. So what this deck tries to do is make a small board little by little every single turn, while stalling out the game long enough to eventually be in a spot where they have multiple of these 8 to 9 costs. In this game, I unfortunately didn't draw them, and while it's a bit of a luck of the draw, it's easier to draw them if you have things like Edison or Robing, because they just draw 2 cards unconditionally. Even Nami and Luffy can cycle a card. This deck actually searches so much that you should start to consider the loop cards and think about what cards you're sending to the bottom, so that when they come back up to the top, you can be careful of something like a Didis search so that you don't accidentally bottom your Yamato for a second time. As such, this is an extremely hard deck to play, and the most important thing about playing Vegapunk, it's not that the moves are particularly difficult to do from a turn-to-turn basis, it's that you need to know what to do optimally in like 15 seconds. Because if you don't, you will hit the time limit. So if you're going to play Vegapunk, you must learn to play this deck extremely quickly. And obviously for the video, I played it slowly, explaining my thoughts. If you are going to play this deck, be able to think about the logic of when you want certain cards and just know when you're in that situation which is the correct choice. It's a very difficult deck to pilot, but it is lots of fun. And if you are a yellow refugee, I know that yellow gets a bad rep, but this is an extremely skilled yellow deck. So if people are complaining about yellow, just tell them that they're mad because they're bad. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!